The World Economic Forum has revealed plans to buy up land left by Dutch farmers who are being put out of business by the global elites. Prime Minister Mark Rutte is one of the WEF's young global leaders and has vowed to help usher in the Great Reset. The Great Reset is a plan by the elite to reduce the world's population and create a global government, known as the New World Order, which will control every aspect of your life. They see a future for us where we are completely dependent on the state, where we eat bugs, where they own our land, and where we own nothing and behave like happy slaves in their nightmare tyrannical system.
What are they worried about with nitrogen? It sounds laughable to me.
It is laughable, and that is what you should take away from this. It's not a real crisis. Obviously, nitrogen isn't a problem, especially not when you consider the fact that, well, the Netherlands, like I said, is such a small piece of land.
Yeah.
We have our neighboring countries, Belgium and Germany, that don't have to implement any of these measures, but the Dutch government is doing it. And the real reason, obviously, behind it is that the Dutch state wants the farmers' land. Because probably there are a couple of reasons. So the farmers, first of all, they're a group in society that are very self-reliant. They are basically ungovernable in that sense. You know, they own a lot of the Dutch land. And they produce agricultural products, they have livestock, they produce beef. And what's interesting to know is that the Dutch minister who has pushed this nitrogen law has a brother-in-law who is the owner of the Dutch online supermarket called Picnic. Guess who invested $600 million in Picnic last year? Right, Bill Gates, the man who wants you to eat fake meat.
And, you know, that's not just a conspiracy theory. I know, for example, that the head of the Netherlands, am I pronouncing his name right? Rutte? How do you pronounce the name of the leader of the Netherlands? He's a serious member of the World Economic Forum, too. What's his name?
Mark Rutte. Yes, Rutte. Mark Rutte is very, very deeply involved in the World Economic Forum. And, well, it's obvious that this law is a product, again, of these globalist institutions. Because this needs to happen before 2030. Rings a bell, right? Agenda 2030, the Great Reset, World Economic Forum. It's very clear that this is a made-up crisis, which we've seen before with these organizations. That's the way they handle, that's the way they operate these things. They say, we have a crisis, and you are the ones that are going to have to solve this by giving up all of your rights. Yeah. So that's what's happening here. They're taking away these farmers' land. They're taking away property because they see a future for us in which we're completely dependent on the state. You eat bugs, and well, they own your land. You own nothing, and you'll be happy.
The architects of the Great Reset are currently rushing to implement their sinister agenda because the plan is to have everything in place by 2030.
Is it possible that in an age where everybody's talking about possibility of food shortages, of insecure supply chains, the Dutch government is pursuing this policy which will lead to even more dependency on international supply chains and thus uncertainty for the Dutch consumers? The answer is that the people governing this country are following the script written by the EU to realize what they call a Great Reset. They want to make us more dependent on international supply chains. They want to weaken Dutch sovereignty and autonomy. And also, they want to continue mass immigration into the Netherlands. And if you are going to bring more people to the Netherlands in a very small and densely populated country, you're going to need to take the land from the farmers and put houses there.
They want the Dutch people to be one of the first groups to comply with the Great Reset. The land they're currently stealing will be used to house asylum seekers after they have completely opened up the borders.